All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to unpack a really beautiful, quiet German short story. It's called Rosenwasser und Morgenlicht, which translates to Rosewater and Morning Light. And really, it's a story all about the gaps between people, the things we don't say, and what it takes to finally truly be present in our own lives. So the story kicks off with this one simple line that just hooks you right away. In the beginning, there was simply this summer. That's it. No names, no places, just this immediate feeling of nostalgia, right? It just plunges you straight into a memory, and you can already tell this single summer is going to be the bedrock for everything else that happens.
So, part 1, A Summer on the Road. This is where we meet the three people at the heart of this story, Apollo, Irlmaia, and Artemis. And right from the get-go, we start to see the dynamics taking shape that are going to follow them for the rest of their lives.
And this really nails the dynamic between our two main characters. You've got Apollo, who's driving, telling these rambling stories that led nowhere. He's all this outward energy. And then you have Irlmaia. She's right there in the car, but she's a million miles away, always looking out the window again. It's so clear, right? He's pushing out, and she's pulling in.
And then there's the third person in the car, Artemis. And she's so important because she's basically our eyes and ears. She's the one who sees everything. Like, she notices how Apollo's voice kind of trails off when he realizes Irlmaia isn't listening. And she gets that Irlmaia isn't being mean. It's just she's somewhere else, pulled away by something only she can see. Artemis just sits there, patient, taking it all in.
Here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. One night, there's music playing, and Apollo tries to connect. He asks her, "Are you not well?" And her answer is just a total shutdown. I'm just tired." It's such a small thing, but it's huge, isn't it? It's a moment where she could have connected, but instead she just pulls away.
Okay, so the road trip is over, and now we jump forward. Years have passed. This next part is about their marriage, and it's called Waiting for Something. That distance we saw in the car? Well, now it's not just a mood. It's their entire life.
And you can just feel time slipping by here. They get married, they have kids, they pay the bills, all the normal life stuff. But their connection just fizzles out. Conversations become these little dead ends, like, we'll see. And it all leads to this heartbreaking image of Apollo just standing alone in the kitchen. Waiting. For what he probably doesn't even know.
And what's so important to understand is that nothing blew up. This wasn't some dramatic collapse. The story is very clear. There was no big fight, no affair, no screaming match. It was more like a slow fade. Just this quiet, gradual drifting apart.
This line just sums it all up, doesn't it? Apollo simply waited more and more often for something that did not come. He spent years in that state of waiting. He couldn't put a name to it, but he felt the hole where something should have been. He was waiting for her to show up, to be present with him, and it just never happened.
But all of that quiet waiting, it comes to a sudden, violent stop. This next part, the news on Tuesday, isn't about a decision or a conversation. It's about something that happens to them, something that changes absolutely everything in an instant.
It was just one phone call. That's all it took. One call on a totally normal Tuesday morning, and Apollo was dead. Just like that. The waiting was over because, well, he was gone.
And at his funeral, you really get a sense of who this guy was. His friends tell all these stories, about how he'd get completely lost but pretend he knew exactly where he was going, or how he'd sing way too loud at parties. He was the kind of guy who'd host a barbecue in the middle of winter just because. He was alive. Flawed, but so alive.
Meanwhile, Irlmaia is just there, listening. You can't really tell what she's thinking. Sometimes she smiles a little, sometimes she just looks at the floor. It's impossible to know what's going on inside. And who's right there by her side? Artemis, same as always, a quiet, steady presence.
Okay, so this brings us to the final act. It's called Not Always Being Elsewhere. Months have passed since the funeral. Irlmaia and Artemis are together up in a house in the mountains, totally isolated. And this is where it all comes to a head. This is where the story finally looks the idea of presence right in the eye.
It's Artemis who finally says what needs to be said. After all these years of just watching, she asks Irlmaia, "Do you remember how you used to always disappear when something got too close?" Wow. That's the question that's been hanging in the air for decades, and it just cracks the whole story open.
And then Artemis does something really interesting.
She takes a piece of cloth and ties it over Irlmaia's eyes. Now, this isn't some weird power move. It's a way of saying, okay, you can't look out the window anymore, there are no distractions. It forces Irlmaia to just be right there in that room, in that moment, with nothing to escape to.
And then she says this, just the most gentle, powerful thing. You don't always have to be somewhere else. Think about that. It's like she's giving Irlmaia permission to stop running, to stop disappearing, permission to just stay, maybe for the first time in her life.
And then comes the big one, the question the entire story has been built around. Artemis asks her point blank, where do you always go? When you check out, when you disappear inside your own head, where is that place?
Irlmaia's answer is just, wow. It's so honest and heartbreaking. She says, actually, I'm only ever going away. Get that? She wasn't escaping to a fantasy world or some better memory. The destination wasn't the point. The point was just the leaving, going away from the moment, away from the people who loved her.
And the story closes on this tiny, tiny action that feels absolutely massive. Artemis puts her hand on Irlmaia's arm, and this time, Irlmaia doesn't pull away. She just lets it be there. She stays. It's not some magic cure, but it's something, right? It's a start. It's her first real step toward being present.
So, that's where the story leaves us. It takes Irlmaia's journey and sort of turns it back on us. It leaves you with this big question to chew on. When we do that, when we zone out or pull out our phones in the middle of a conversation, where are we going? Are we escaping to somewhere better? Or are we, like Irlmaia, just going away?